Hi, welcome back. So in this video, we're going to talk about Git status. So it's actually a trivial command, but what it does behind the scene is actually not trivial, and that's what I'm going to walk you through in this video. So I think it will probably be a two-part video, and my goal with these videos is actually to build fundamentals, help you build really deep fundamentals, because when things break in the AI era, fundamentals will be there to help. So what we're going to do here is to first start, just create a repository. Actually, right here, we're just creating a folder, right? I did git init lab. That's basically the same as our saying mkdir lab folder and then git init in that folder and so on and so forth. So when we look at it, we only have a .git inside that folder. Now, what I'm going to do here on the left, I will have, I'm going to play with the git command, and on the right, so I'm going to go inside the lab, we're going to observe what is happening underneath, right? Underneath in the git, in this git folder right here. So I'm going to open it here, and then we keep it just open like that. Now, right here, inside that folder, if we look at it, we only have the .git folder right now. On the left side, on the right side, I have these hooks, list of hooks, info. There's really nothing in here. Object, there is no object in it, and that's where you're going. I'm gonna need you to really pay attention to what's going to happen inside this part right here. Okay, we're gonna really play with that. And you can just ignore everything else, but really the focus here is going to be one more time on this part of the inside, the internals of Git right here. Now let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to create a file. Let's call it index.ts, right? So once we do that, I showed that in the previous video, you can just do git status right here, and I'm going to use the short version, and right here it tells you that something was created, but it has no, it's not tracked, right? It's not yet in the Git system, and that part over here hasn't changed at all. So because the thing is not being tracked. Now let's add it. We're going to use the git add, and then git add command, you can actually say git add dot. So what it's going to do with the dot, it will take every single file that is not tracked and or every single file that is modified, and it will add it. And what does that mean, adding it? From the moment it gets added, it moves from being locally on your computer, in the folder, to become part of that specific Git project right here. So that folder there doesn't have a clue of what kind of file do I have on my folder right now. But the moment I do git add, so that is one command, but you can actually also just say git index by file, by the name file right there, and you see that when you do that, the command is just that simple, git add index.ts right there. So I'm gonna use this one for now, and we're going to see with the dot what it does later. So right now I'm just gonna enter. I want you to really pay attention to what is happening inside the object on that other side. Enter here, and now you see in the object part, there is a E6 something that has been added right there. So if I click on it, you're going to see that it's actually a simple hash key. And what that hash key represents, so let me open here, it represents basically, if I go back here, git status, it represents the fact that now this file has been moved to the Git repo, and the content of the file, the name of the file got hashed, so that it will be, it's now been tracked by the system. Stay with me right here. This part, right now it's just on the git add part. Git add it's still is you just saying I did some work and I'm gonna go through the process of adding it, making it available for like stage it to a different, bring it to a different stage, right? But at that stage, you can still make modification and then add and then modification and add, so on and so forth, right? For example, now I'm gonna go with in here and then put a console log and just say something here, right? I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. Now, if I open the git status right here, you're going to see that we have that thing where it says, hey, that file is at the same time it got added, but it also got modified. Let's look at a different version of git status here, where it basically showed us like, hey, it's been added here, but it also has been modified, right? So I can just go here and say git add index again. And now you see that by adding it, literally, I'm adding a different, on the right side, it did add another hash key. And that hash key there represents that specific file index with content inside. The first one represents the index without anything inside. Okay. And so on and so forth. You're going to see that as you add things, it will basically keep on creating a hash key that represent the content of the file, the name of the file and the content of the file. Let me show you one more time one thing here. Now you see I have that index.ts. We're going to do git status and we see indeed that we only have that one file right now. See, there is a command that is not part of really this video. I'll come back to it a bit later. It's that git rm cached. It's the equivalent of remove. rm as remove right here. Okay, so I'm gonna use that git rm cache, and then you give it the name of the file. So once I do that, you're going to see that basically these two objects haven't moved, right? They're going to stay right there, right? These objects are just still visible right there. Let's make more space right now. They're still visible. Now, look, the content of this, I'm just gonna cat index, is still that console log. Look what's gonna happen. Git status. We see that it's not tracked. That's what it says. Right here, it's not tracked. Okay, and now I'm gonna just add it again, but I want you to pay attention on the right side what's going to happen. You can even pause here and tell me what you think is going to happen internally inside Git. If I do that, I just did git add, and basically nothing here has changed. Nothing. No new hash key has been created. Why? It's because Git, based on the content and the name of the file, the hash key, it just finds the same content already available right there inside the Git folder, right? So that's basically fundamentally what you need to understand about git add. It's you move things from untracked to a tracked position, and even if something has been already committed, that's the thing we're gonna watch or see in one of the upcoming video. You're going to see that you can modify committed things and then add them back, and so on and so forth. But behind the scene, what is important to understand is adding things. I'm going to add, for example, another file. Let me say main.ts and touch second.ts. So now if I do git status, you're going to see that I have two new files. And right now, if these files are empty, they're empty. So if I do git add main, this time I'm going to use the dot expression. Let me move that up there. Git add. I'm going to use the dot expression right there. So you see the command is git add dot. When I do that, these were two empty files, right? So if I do that, I add them here, you're going to see that, really pay attention to what happened there. they got added, but no new object was created. So basically the empty file, they just don't have a weight. They will be added into that, just assume that, hey, you just added an empty file and yeah, there is really nothing to track there, right? Literally, there is nothing to track in that file. But look what's going to happen right here. I'm going to go back here and then git rm cached. And we're just going to take the main file right here. So we bring it back to if I do to being like a local file in the thing, not a git tracked file. Now it's back over here. I'm going to go inside I'm going to add something inside that main file, right? Let's say just say test and then add that inside that main.ts. Add it here, git status, you're going to see that it's still on track. But the main difference there is like if you cut that main, you're going to see that now there is a test thing inside. Now, pay attention to what's going to happen over here. We had an empty file. Now we added something in there. So when we added that empty file and inside Git, nothing happened. No new hash key were created. But now we added something inside that file. Okay? What's going to happen? When we do git add, and I'm going to say main. And by the way, here I could simply say main or dot because there is only one file that if I say dot, it's going to be main. If I say main, well, it's main, right? So right here, I'm just going to say git add main. And then you're going to see that a new hash key was created. And that hash key is now tracking the main.ts as well with the content that is inside. So I want to keep these videos relatively short. This one is a little bit long, so I'm going to keep it as git add version part 1, and I will gladly do a part 2. But get the fundamentals. That's one of them. That's basically a place where you can you learn how to go deeper than what you use, like the tools you usually you use every day. The deeper you know how they work, the better work you can do with them. And I hope this video was helpful. Sorry it was a little bit long, but yeah, I will see you on the next one. Cheers.